In the headlines for this hour on VTV News, the first quarter sees boom in Vietnam shrimp exports. And Vietnam welcomes over 4.6 million international visitors in the first quarter. In a war news, Russia waged tighter migrant worker rules.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. In a pivotal segment of the lawmaking session, the National Assembly Standing Committees reviewed and provided feedback on the law on the management and use of weapons, explosive materials, and support tools. The session was chaired by National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ. During the session, deputies noted that several regulations in the 2017 law have exhibited limitations and need revisions to better meet state management requirements and combat criminal activities. Over the past 5 years, the situation involving the illegal use of weapons, explosive, and support tools has remained complex. The revised law will introduce several new aspects, including the reductions and simplifications of documents and records required for administrative procedures involving weapons, explosive prosecutor, and recovery support tools. The 15 Provincial Governance and Public Administration Performance Index report was announced this morning in Hanoi. This index conveyed Vietnamese citizens' opinions and expectations on various issues, including policy effectiveness, law enforcement, local governance, and public services at all levels. Notably, corruption has dropped from the 5th to the 6th positions in a top 10 most concerning issue from 2022 to 2023. The index reveals a significant decrease in openness and transparency in 23 provinces and cities, particularly regarding commune-level budget revenues and expenditures. There is also a reported decline in the level of openness and transparency in creating and publicizing the list of impoverished households in the locality. Furthermore, the report identifies poverty reduction, employment, and economic growth as 3 issues the state needs to prioritize this year. Ho Chi Minh City gross regional domestic product (GRDP) increased by less than 1% in the first quarter of 2023. However, the city economy has witnessed positive changes in the first quarter of this year, with GRDP growth rate reaching 6.54%. This is the high increase compared to the target and previous forecast and has been the highest since 2020.
Ho Chi Minh City's domestic budget revenue in the first quarter of 2024 reached over $4.56 billion, an increase of more than 20% year-on-year. Budget collection from the economic sector accounted for more than 64%.
The real estate sector had significant growth compared to 2023. Besides, tourism, accommodation, and dining services also surged against 2023.
Meanwhile, the city's industrial production index increased by 5.1% over the same period last year. Some of the city's key industrial and service sectors are recovering, contributing positively to the overall growth.
Many businesses and sectors such as furniture, textiles, and garments which face difficulties have received orders for the second quarter, third quarter, and the whole year.
In the first quarter of last year, Ho Chi Minh City's GRDP growth was at only 0.6%. Since the end of 2023, the city has deployed drastic solutions to promote growth, focusing on facilitating public investment and supporting businesses to recover the production and business.
We have boosted private investment by removing obstacles for sectors that we've identified since the beginning of this year, especially the real estate sector.
Ho Chi Minh City is aiming for this year's growth rate of 7.5 to 8%. Experts say that the city's GRDP growth in the first quarter will be the foundation to create a premise for growth in the following quarters.
Credit growth saw a rebound in March following 2 months of decline. By March 25th, total credit has reached roughly $547.8 billion, marking a 0.26% increase from the end of the previous year. The credit growth rate for March alone was about 1%. It is projected that credit growth will continue to rise. At present, most banks provide preferential loan packages with annual interest rates of just 5% for both individuals and businesses. The priority sectors for lending continue to be manufacturing, export, small and medium enterprises, green production, and high-tech agriculture. Vietnam's seafood exports are projected to reach nearly $2 billion by the end of the first quarter of 2024, an 8% increase from the same period last year. Notably, Vietnam's shrimp export in the first 3 months of 2024 are expected to exceed $620 million, a 24% increase from the same period the previous year. The U.S. market is projected to grow by 26%, while the Chinese market is expected to surge by over 140%. According to the Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers, Vietnamese shrimps face price competition from other suppliers in the Chinese market, yet many Chinese buyers perceive Vietnamese shrimp as superior in quality and are willing to pay a higher price. In the U.S. market, industry experts anticipate that sales of fresh and frozen seafood will stabilize in 2024, following a challenging year in 2023. So far this year, the agricultural sector has confirmed its role as a cornerstone of the economy, demonstrating positive growth. Many key products are shown significant increases in productivity. Notably, agro-forestry aquatic export soared by over 21% compared to the same period last year. The trade surplus reached $3.36 billion, a rise of over 96%. More on this in the following story.
Building on last year's momentum, Vietnamese agro-forestry aquatic product exports have shown strong performance in the early months of this year. In March alone, exports reached $4.85 billion, a 6% year-on-year increase. 4 products, wood, fruits and vegetables, rice and coffee, generate export revenue exceeding $1 billion. This growth is attributed to various factors, including proactive and timely solutions from the authorities.
In the first months of the year, the agricultural sector has encountered many challenges and pressures, including the negative effects of climate change. The support packages have come just in time to boost the entire sector to achieve this result.
According to the General Department of Vietnam Customs, the country earned $1.25 billion from exporting fruits and vegetables in the first 3 months of 2024, up 27% year-on-year. This is the first time the fruit and vegetable export value had exceeded $1 billion in the first quarter, signaling strong growth for the sector in the future.
Foreign trade activities are booming, but that doesn't mean we don't focus on improving product quality. Branding is also crucial. The ministry had assigned the Department of Plant Protection to review and provide solutions to meet the needs and demands of international markets.
Experts anticipate that despite the Red Sea crisis significantly impacting Vietnam's fruit and vegetable exports to Europe and the U.S., it could boost those to China and nearby countries. This effect is especially expected for durian, coconut, dragon fruit, jackfruit, banana, and mango. This year, Vietnam forecasts an export turnover of $6.2 to $6.5 billion in fruits and vegetables.
Vietnamese agricultural products are globally recognized, with companies in 185 countries and territories ordering these products for their market. The establishments of VietGap, Global Gap, and Organic Standards growing area significantly contributed to this success. By adopting new farming techniques, farmers can increase their profits, further enhancing the global reputations of Vietnamese agricultural products.
These chili fields are nearing harvest time. Ting, a farmer, previously grew rice on these fields but decided to contract with a local company to cultivate chilies for export. Chilies are more productive than rice, yielding approximately 40 tons per hectare. As a seasonal crop, chilies can be harvested throughout the year.
We plant chilies according to international standards. The company will purchase our products. This was my first year growing chilies. If it goes well, we will stop growing rice and switch to growing chilies.
Chili peppers are adaptable to harsh climate conditions and often yield high crops. It's common for importers to require farmers to select the appropriate variety.
The authorities have partnered with businesses to assist local farmers in running trial tests on various crops to determine which are suitable for planting. We even had it tested with PCR to confirm its authenticity.
Producing chili peppers to meet market demands is helping local agriculture adopt a new consumption strategy. This involves not just selling what is available, but rather selling what the market needs. Not only chilies, but many types of Vietnamese agricultural products are now finding their way into the South Korean market.
Sugarcane, chili, and lemongrass are loved by South Koreans. These are also scarce products in this market. This is an advantage for Vietnam as our farmers can utilize hilly and mountainous planting areas to produce better quality products.
Vietnam's tropical fruit products, with their expanding cultivation areas and nutrient-rich profile, hold a significant potential in the South Korean market. To capitalize on this potential, it's crucial to standardize the cultivation areas. Additionally, research should be conducted to enhance the quality of exported agricultural products to meet international market standards.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate for today, April 2nd. Up next on VTV News, $51.5 million from selling forest carbon credits allocated to localities. And Vietnam welcomes over 4.6 million international visitors in the first quarter. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh had just issued a directive to strengthen efforts to prevent and combat heat, drought, and water shortages and saltwater intrusions. The directive calls upon the chairmen of the People's Committees of provinces and cities, notably those in the central region and the Mekong Delta, to closely monitor weather developments, water sources, and saltwater intrusions. They are also asked to update prevention and combat plans for heat, drought, water shortage, and saltwater intrusion, taking different water sources into account. In the directive, the Prime Minister assigned the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development the task of proactive monitoring and forecasting the water sources and saltwater intrusions, providing information and guidance for the effective operations of irrigation system. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment is tasked with monitoring and providing early and reliable forecasts of hydrometeorological heat, drought, and saltwater intrusions, promptly supplying information to the relevant localities and agencies. The Ministers of Industry and Trade is directed to instruct the Electricity Group and Hydroelectric Reservoir to coordinate with relevant ministries and localities in developing plans for the operations of hydroelectric reservoirs and mobilizing appropriate electricity from generators to ensure water for daily use and effective use of water sources for electricity generation. Hydrometeorological experts predict lower levels of precipitation this year, leading to an extended dry season. Ho Chi Minh City, with its populations of 10 million and numerous large-scale manufacturing industries, demands a substantial water supply. As such, several solutions have been suggested to secure the city water supply.
The water in Linh Đông Ward, Thủ Đức City is highly acidic. As a result, households in the area rely solely on tap water. Despite recent temporary water supply interruptions, local families have not been significantly impacted and continue to have water for their daily activities.
The company supplies water from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., so our daily lives haven't been affected much.
Currently, Ho Chi Minh City is proposing 46 well stations, which were previously water supply stations. These stations have met the water safety storage requirements. In the worst-case scenario, we will reactivate these 46 well stations.
When incidents occur in the city's water supply system, the unit will prioritize backup measures for key areas. In addition, the unit is also conducting saltwater treatment.
The salinity increases during high tides. There will be times during the day when the salinity decreases. To cope with saltwater intrusion, our pumping stations will operate at maximum capacity to store water in tanks.
The Saigon Water Supply Corporation has proposed various long-term solutions. These suggestions include constructing upstream raw water reservoirs for pre-treatment of water and minimizing pollutants in water source through a natural cleaning process. They also recommend building underground storage tanks within the city to ensure a secured water system and to serve as a reserve for clean water sources.
According to the Vietnam Coffee and Cocoa Association, dry weather has led to a 20% reduction in coffee productions compared to the previous year. In major coffee growing areas like Kon Tum province, farmers are resorting to pumping water from nearly dried up ponds and lakes to salvage their patches coffee trees. The extended hot weather has left farmers in fear of crop failure. More to follow.
Hundreds of hectares of coffee in Bình Minh village, Hamon commune, Đắc Hà district, Kon Tum province, are awaiting irrigation from this reservoir. Despite dozens of pumps being available, only 2 are operational. Farmers have waited days to water their crops, but the supply is barely enough for the parched, scorched coffee areas.
I have 5 hectares of coffee trees. Now, each farmer in the area has to take turns watering the coffee trees because the water source is limited. Several people have to share a water pump at once.
Đắc Hà district is the key coffee growing area of Kon Tum province, with an area of 12,000 hectares. Many households are focused on mobilizing pumps to draw water from ponds and lakes to prevent coffee trees from burning. Coffee growers can't help but feel restless.
The rain stopped nearly 4 to 5 months early, and now the water sources, such as ponds and lakes, have dried up to a dead level. The bottoms of the lakes are solidified with alum. Farmers have to ration each liter of water for their withering coffee trees.
In the area, the Dacu irrigation project is responsible for watering over 3,000 hectares of coffee. However, the drought has affected the 4th irrigation phase for coffee trees. Additionally, water must be ensured for people's daily lives, so each water channel is regulated every 3 days to ensure production.
At present, the water level in 172 reservoirs and dams in Kon Tum province is only about 50 to 70% of their capacity. The agricultural sector has been urgently diverting water from large irrigation reservoirs to dry areas, but this only satisfies parts of the demand. It is predicted that around 1,000 hectares of coffee in Kon Tum will dry out due to insufficient irrigation water.
Currently, 80% of the $51.5 million US generated from selling forest carbon credits has already been allocated to the 6 North Central provinces participating in this program. Within the next 1 to 2 months, the remaining funds will be distributed to the localities. This information comes from the Departments of Forestry under Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Based on the contracted forest area, the localities will distribute these funds to the people and communities contracted to protect the forest. The ministry has issued a benefit sharing plan and is organizing training for local distribution. The main beneficiaries will be communities, ethnic groups, and forest protectors. Hanoi has recently authorized districts to determine the compensation framework coefficients, often referred to as the K coefficient. It's also proposing to select investors for HO apartment renovation project. This is seen as a solution to eliminate problems and ensure progress in the renovation and rebuilding of all apartment buildings in the city. After more than 2 years of implementing the policies, Hanoi has completed the renovations and constructions of 19 old dormitories and apartment buildings, which accounts for just over 1% of the total workload. With the city authorization, the district now have the opportunity to accelerate the renovations and rebuilding of degraded apartments. Currently, more than 100 businesses are interested in investing in the city-owned apartment renovation projects. In the first quarter of this year, over 4.6 million international visitors traveled to Vietnam, representing a 72% increase from the same period last year and a slight rise compared to the same period in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the Vietnam National Tourism Administration. Most major international tourist markets have fully recovered, with some markets such as Asia and America exceeding pre-pandemic levels. Markets that benefit from unilateral visa exemption policies have also shown strong growth. Given these positive recovery signs, the tourism industry is anticipated to achieve its goal of welcoming 18 million international visitors this year. Hải Phòng authorities set out to turn the coastal city into one of the largest tourist hubs in Vietnam from 2020 to 2025. To achieve this goal, Cat Ba Archipelago is aimed to develop high-end resort tourism characterized by typical local products and eco-friendly environment. More to follow.
Cat Ba Archipelago boasts clean beaches and a healthy ecosystem with good preservation of biodiversity. To protect the environment, farmers wish to use non-plastic aquaculture gears for aquafarming. The green destination has left a lasting impression on foreign tourists.
The landscape is really beautiful, and I think it's got beautiful geology, and the scenery and the water's so blue, and it's just lovely.
Boasting more than 350 limestone islands of various shapes, Cat Ba Archipelago was recognized as a World Natural Heritage Site in September 2023. Thanks to effective environmental protection measures, Cat Ba Archipelago has attracted more than 400,000 visitors in the first 3 months of this year.
Cat Ba Archipelago has become greener and cleaner. Residents are now more friendly and hospitable to visitors, as local community awareness is increased.
To attract tourists during summer, Cat Ba authorities recently organized a festival marking the 65th anniversary of President Ho Chi Minh's visit to Cat Hai district.
We have mapped out a plan to increase strategic investors' engagement. We are also cooperating with the Ha Long Bay Management Board to develop interregional tourism and offer training for on-site human resources.
Cat Ba authorities have focused on developing interregional tourism routes. The locality is expected to receive 3,600,000 tourist arrivals this year.
Coming up next in our World News, Russia waged tighter migrant worker rules. And tension eclipsed between Israel and Iran. The Russian Interior Ministry on Monday completed drafting a bill that calls for tightening state controls over immigration. The bill was hastily completed after a terrorist attack that killed 143 people at a theater near Moscow with immigration suspect. Russia will create digital profiles of foreign visitors. There will be tighter control over employers and clients of work services that recruit foreign labor. Additionally, a single document certifying the identity of foreign citizens in Russia will replace all currently issued migration documents, as well as confirm the right to reside and work in the country. Previously, foreigners could temporarily stay in Russia for 90 days within every 6-month period. On the same day, Russia arrested a 10th suspect in the terrorist attack on the Krokus City Hall Theater. The suspect is a citizen of Tajikistan and an unofficial worker at a construction site. A top Iranian military commander and 7 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps officials were killed in an airstrike on the Iranian consulate building in Damascus, Syria on Monday. The airstrike, which destroyed the consulate annex, was reportedly carried out by Israeli F-35 fighter jets. Rescuers are currently searching for trapped individuals. Iran's ambassador to Syria has confirmed that at least 5 people were killed in the attack. Iran's foreign minister has stated that Tehran holds Israel accountable for the consequences of the attack. This incident occurs amidst escalating tensions in the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza and increasing violence between Israel and its Iranian allies. At present, Israel has not issued a comment regarding the attack. During Monday trading session, world oil prices rose by approximately 1%. Notably, the price of light sweet oil surged around 0.7% to $83.71 per barrel, marking the highest closing level since October 27. This increase occurred in light of the tightening oil supply due to production cuts by the organizations of the petroleum exporting countries OPEC and the stagnant operations of Russian oil refineries. The market anticipates that economic growth in the U.S. and China will stimulate oil demand. According to analysts, a substantial rise in gasoline demand during the summer, coupled with a recovery in China's oil demand, could propel oil prices to reach $100 per barrel. Australia plans to establish a $653 million fund to expand solar panel manufacturing. This announcement was made by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese last week. The move is part of the country's efforts to accelerate a transition from coal power to renewable energy. More to follow.
The Australian government has increased spending to support new wind, solar and battery projects. Since Anthony Albanese took office as Prime Minister in 2022, the project has received an investment exceeding $653 million. The government aims to increase the share of renewable power in the energy grid from around 40% now to 82% by 2030.
A vision for Australia that sees renewable energy powering advanced manufacturing here to produce more in Australia. Powered by clean energy, positioning ourselves to be a renewable energy superpower for the world.
This initiative will provide production subsidies, grants, and assistance in manufacturing solar panels at AGL Energy's former coal-fired Little Power Station, the site of Australia's leading power producer.
We have the highest per capita use of solar panels on roofs of any country in the world. But of all of those, about 1% of them are made in Australia.
Consultations are scheduled to begin in mid-April, when the Australian Renewable Energy Agency will collaborate with the industry and the Australian government to design and implement this initiative.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.